Well, thank you very much indeed. This morning what I'll do is provide a roundup around the state of the various towns and cities that have been affected, and then I'll pass over to Assistant Commissioner Brett Pointing for some other details relating to the event. I'd like to start with Rockhampton, and Rockhampton currently has 29 people resident in the evacuation centre. They have about 1,000 houses there with water through the yards, and there's total businesses and properties affected at the moment is around about 1,340 premises. In preparation for rising waters in some of the low-lying areas, power has been disconnected to around about 243 premises, with some more disconnects planned for today. The airport, as we said yesterday, was closed to operations from yesterday afternoon, and will remain closed until further notice, except for rotary wing or helicopter assets that are operating in disaster management operations. The highway to the south of Rockhampton is closed. The rail line to the south of Rockhampton is closed, and the highway currently to the north of Rockhampton, we are advised, is currently open. In Emerald, the numbers at the evacuation centres has gone down slightly. It's 354 people currently resident there. The number of people that self-evacuated there is around about 1,600. So in total there you have about 2,450 odd people that have been evacuated in one way or another. There are houses with water through at the moment. There's an estimated report of 1,000 houses that have had water inundation through at various levels, and approximately 3,000 homes that have water in and around in the yards. There's about 200 businesses, these are all approximate figures at the moment, with water that's gone through the business, and a further 120 that have actually been affected. We are advised that water in the river is starting to drop very slowly. However, we do remind motorists that although when the bridge does become visible, there is a need for inspections on that bridge, and it is highly likely that there may be reduced flow of traffic across that bridge by both weight and also by the number of vehicles on the bridge at any one time. Moving on now across to Theodore. Theodore remains evacuated, the people at Mara, and we are advised that the water is starting to drop in the area, and the situation there has not really changed since yesterday. With Dalby, Dalby is moving into its recovery phase. There is work still being done in the water treatment area. I can advise that water is still being trucked to the town, and we are still asking residents to be very judicious in their use of water to assist the town through this very challenging time. But it is a resilient community, and it is coping, but again with a number of water restrictions in there. And we thank the people of Dalby for their assistance in this regard. Moving down into Surat, what we're seeing in Surat is rising water has peaked in that area. And is expected to be up for some time. There are two people that have self-evacuated from there, and there are 3 houses currently affected in that community, and again another 6 houses that have water in the surrounding yards. But again, a very resilient community and has planned well and is responding well to that situation. St George, now St George is expected to reach 1991 flood levels towards the end of next week, and I can advise that planning is well underway with the local community there in planning for that event. Again, a very resilient community that is well advanced in its planning, and we do acknowledge that, and they are preparing for that particular event. Chinchilla is currently in the process of recovery as well, and we are looking at supporting Chinchilla with other assets. As requests come from the local disaster management group, we are moving to provide those additional resources. Alpha and Jericho, we are advised that the recovery is well underway, and that the electricians have been through the town now to reconnect the power there. And so, as you can see across this vast area, there are different stages of disaster, from recovery through to response, and also in the preparation and preparedness for the water that is coming. I'd like to pass over to Assistant Commissioner Pointing, who will provide some further details about other aspects of this matter.
Thanks, Alistair, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd really like to talk about a number of issues this morning that relate to public safety. During this event, I've been talking fairly regularly about the dangers of entering floodwaters, and tragically this morning the body of a 41-year-old female was located southeast of Burketown. As you'd be aware, there were reports last night of two vehicles travelling from Mount Isa to Burketown that were washed into the river near Burketown, 75 kilometres from Burketown. 8 rescues occurred last night, and sadly there was one female occupant of one of the vehicles that wasn't found last night, and sadly at 10:20am this morning the body of that 41-year-old female was located 2 kilometres from where the vehicle entered the water. On another note, police in Rockhampton have been searching frantically last night and this morning, looking for reports of a swimmer, people who were swimming, or one male person allegedly who was swimming in the Fitzroy River. A large number of resources had to be deployed to search for that person. We have not located any person in the river. Additionally, we're still searching for a fisherman near Gladstone in the Boyne River who was washed overboard by a rogue wave, and helicopter search and sea search is still underway there. I guess I'd just like to highlight the importance of not swimming in flooded rivers, and certainly not, or exercising caution when driving through flooded waters. This again highlights the tragedy that can occur when people do enter flooded waters or rivers. The other issue, and I've continually raised this during the last week, is the problem with diverting important emergency services resources to search and rescue efforts. This morning's event was a tragedy and just goes to highlight how perilous and dangerous flooded rivers can be. In addition, we've been receiving a lot of questions from the media statewide on looting. As I've mentioned many times, we're deploying additional resources into towns, particularly those that have been evacuated, like Condamine and Theodore, to look after the safety and security of those communities. There has been a lot of requests for comment on looting. We are yet to have a confirmed case of looting in Queensland, thankfully. But we do say to people, it is an area of risk. As people return to their homes, they're putting goods and personal property out on footpaths to dry and over fences and in different places. And we're just asking people to be conscious of their property and to take all necessary precautions where possible. With that, I'll open to questions.
Are you surprised that there haven't been more casualties in a disaster of this scale?
Look, when you consider that this event is really impacting on over 20 towns, and in many cases we're dealing with record flood levels that are high enough that it's very hard to use